Morning Becomes Eclectic welcomes you back. I know you've been here a couple of times before.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we hear a set of music and then we'll come back and chat and see what you've been up to. You've got a new album coming out soon. You've got a book coming out, and we'll catch up with all that stuff.
Okay.
Okay.
Even if I am in love with you, all this to say, what's it to you? Observe the blood, the rose tattoo of the fingerprints on me from you. Other evidence has shown that you and I are still alone. We skirt around the danger zone and don't talk about it later. Marlon watches from the wall. Her mocking smile says it all as she records the rise and fall of every soldier passing. The only soldier now is me. I'm fighting things I cannot see. I think it's called my destiny that I am changing. Marlena on the wall. Well, I walked to your house in the afternoon by the butcher shop with the sawdust strewn. Don't give away the goods too soon is what she might have told me. And I tried so hard to resist when you held me in your handsome fist and reminded me of the night we kissed and of why I should be leaving. Marlena watches from the wall. Her mocking smile says it all as she records the rise and fall of every soldier passing. The only soldier now is me. I'm fighting things I cannot see. I think it's called my destiny that I am changing. Marlena on the wall. And even if I am in love with you, all this to say, what's it to you? Observe the blood, the rose tattoo of the fingerprints on me from you. Other evidence has shown that you and I are still alone. We skirt around the danger zone and don't talk about it later. And I tried so hard to resist when you held me in your handsome fist and reminded me of the night we kissed and of why I should be leaving. Marlena watches from the wall. Her mocking smile says it all as she records the rise and fall of every man who's been here. But the only one here now is me. Fighting things I cannot see. I think it's called my destiny that I am changing, 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 changing. Marlena watches from the wall. Her mocking smile says it all as she records the rise and fall of every soldier passing. The only soldier now is me. I'm fighting things I cannot see. I think it's called my destiny that I am changing. Marlena on the wall. Once I stood alone, so proud, held myself above the crowd, and now I'm low on the ground. From here I look around to see what avenues belong to me. I can't tell what I've found. And now what would you have me do? I ask you please. I wait to hear. The mother and the matador, the mystic, each were here before, like me, to stare you down. But you appear without a face, disappear and leave your trace. I feel your unseen frown. Now what would you have me do? I ask you please. I wait to hear your voice, the word you say. I wait to see your sign would I obey. I look for you in heathered moor, the desert and the ocean floor. How low does one heart go? Looking for your fingerprints, I find them in coincidence and make my faith to grow. Forgive me all my blindnesses, weakness and unkindnesses, as yet unbending still. Struggling so hard to see my fist against eternity, and will you break my will? Now what would you have me do? I ask you please. I wait to hear your voice, the word you say. I wait to see your sign. Would I obey? Now what would you have me do? I ask you please. I wait to hear your voice, the word you say. I wait to see your sign. Could I obey? I'll never be your Maggie May, the one you love and leave behind, the face you see in light of day, then cast away. That isn't me. In that bed you'll find I'd rather take myself away, be like those ladies in Japan. I'd rather paint myself a face, conjure up some grace, or be the eyes behind a veil. And so you go. No girl could say no to you. There's the way I may appear, but that will change from day to night. Could you ever see within, underneath the skin? Could I believe you had that sight? Da 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 da. Da 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 da. And so you go. No girl could say no to you. I'll never be your Maggie May, the one you loved and then forgot. I'll love you first and let you go, 'cause it must be so, and you'll forgive or you will not. And so a woman leaves a man, and so a world turns on its end. And so I'll see your face in dreams where nothing's what it seems. Till you appear some kind of friend. And so you go. No girl could say no to you. Won't do to dream of caramel, to think of cinnamon and long for you. It won't do to stir a deep desire, to fan a hidden fire that can never burn true. I know your name, I know your skin, I know the way these things begin, but I don't know how I would live with myself, what I'd forgive of myself if you don't go. So goodbye, sweet appetite. No single bite could satisfy. I know your name, I know your skin, I know the way these things begin. Don't know how I would live with myself, what I'd forgive of myself if you don't go. It won't do to dream of caramel, to think of cinnamon and long for you.
It's a set of live music in the studio here this morning on Morning Becomes Eclectic from Suzanne Vega, who is joined by Mike Visaglia playing bass. Suzanne's in town tomorrow night, sold-out show at the Knitting Factory, and has some new material that's coming out a little bit later on this year. You just played a set of music for us that covered, something from the first album,
right,
something from the last album, and a couple of new songs.
Yep.
And as we were talking before we went on the air, I was asking you perhaps what would be a good thing for us to talk about, which obviously is the fact that it's been 5 or 6 years in between albums.
Yeah.
And you've been busy, you've been doing a lot of stuff, you've been touring, you've been writing books.
Yeah.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what's been happening to you since 9 Objects of Desire, which I think was the last album that came out.
Yeah, that came out in 96. So after that, I toured and I promoted that album, and then in a couple of years after that, I came out with a book, and it's called The Passionate Eye, and it was out in hardback a couple of years ago, and it's coming out in paperback in April, and it's sort of collected writings, and it's lyrics, fiction, essays, poems,
journal writing, all different kinds of writing from all different parts of my life.
What made you decide to put these writings together and actually publish them? I mean, you've always been known as somebody whose lyrics are very evocative and tell stories. What made you decide to collect these various writings, essays, lyrics, and put them out into a book form?
I got an offer from a publisher.
That's a good.
That's
that's a good enough reason.
The obvious one, but yeah, they came to me and said, "We'd like to put out a book, and what do you have?" And I showed them what I had, and they came out with it. So I've been very happy with that.
So that came out a couple of years ago, you were saying?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, and it was kind of a time, I guess, for me to take stock and look back, because I also came out with the greatest hits, not here but in Europe. So I was promoting that as well. So I guess 2 or 3 years ago was kind of a time for me to stop and look back and take stock of everything. And then promoting the greatest hits in Europe sort of started this ball rolling of the touring that I've been doing there for the last couple of years. I've been doing some pretty great festivals there. And what started off as a couple of gigs just turned into this great bunch of gigs that I go and do every summer. When my daughter's out of school, that's what I end up doing, is going to Europe and touring for a few weeks.
Now, your daughter's 6 now, so
She's 6, yeah.
I guess you have to really think about your schedule to time in with that stuff. As a single mom,
yeah,
you got a lot of other responsibilities apart from going out and
touring. Yeah, I mean,
gigs.
I used to be able to go out for a year, and tour for a year, and now I just don't do that. I tour when she's out of school, and I tour, for example, in the fall I'll be coming and doing some more dates here in California, but I'll be coming out for several days and then going back home, so it's a different kind of tour than I used to. And it's also small. It's just me and Mike on it's not the big band sound anymore, so it's been pared down and it's gone really well.
That's probably a lot easier to travel around the world as well, just the pair of you and a couple of suitcases.
Yeah, and tour manager.
Tell us a little bit about the new record. When did you start recording a new album? And were you inspired to do that by the fact that you'd put out the collection of greatest hits, as you call it, in Europe, and obviously your songs are out there, you get a chance to look back at the past, and maybe it's a stepping off point for the future?
Kind of. I think it's just that I felt like writing. I mean, I've been writing for most of my life, and so it was just time to, once I had looked back, then it was time to turn around and look forward. There was really no other way to put it. And some, I also have been writing about some of the things that have happened in my personal life to some degree, and it's helpful to kind of put these things in perspective in the songs, because that way you can kind of leave it behind as well. So, but no, mostly I just felt that it was time to start writing again. We started recording it about a year ago. I did a couple of songs with Rupert Hine in the studio, and I was very happy with the way it went. So He's the producer. He's the producer
right.
of the new album, and so we started recording it seriously in November. And I sort of went on this writing spree while I was in the studio. I must have written 5 or 6 songs while I was in the studio. So at this point, Mike and I are still testing out some of the songs that we've written and recorded. It's our first time playing them live. And Maggie May, that was probably the second time we've performed it live for anybody.
In the past, you've explored your musicianship. You've explored the studio with other musicians and brought different musical styles into your records. Mm-hmm. What about this new album? Is it more of a stripped down approach? The fact that there's only 2 of you actually playing the songs live in the studio, did you decide that was something you wanted to do to sort of really get back to basics?
The way I approached this album was to say I wanted the acoustic guitar to be kind of at the heart of all the songs. I wanted to be able to play all of them myself live. But then I also told Rupert if he heard any grooves that he wanted to put in there, that would be fine with me too. And actually, I think the record has a kind of a lush sound. It's not acoustic, it's not stripped down, but it does have the acoustic guitar at the heart of it. So it's an interesting mixture, because once we got in there and started working, it really took on its own life. And it's hard to describe. For me, it's hard to have perspective on it since we finished it last Wednesday.
Sure.
I have no perspective at all. But
right.
Some people will say it's more acoustic. Some people might think it's more pop. But all of the songs are songs that I can play, it's something I had been getting away from with the last couple of records. About half and half with the last few records.
When do we expect this record to come out?
I think in either August or September of this year.
Okay, so we're sort of way early in the process here.
Oh, yeah.
But we're really glad you're here playing some songs for us. I know you've got another set of music.
Yeah.
heroes go down, they go down fast. So don't expect any time to equivocate the past. When heroes go down, they land in flame. So don't expect any slow and careful settling of blame. I heard you say you look out for the feet of clay, that someone will be falling next without the chance for last respect. You feel the disappointment. Heroes go down, man or woman reveal. Do you show any kind of mercy on the battlefield? You say you look out for the feet of clay, that someone will be falling next without the chance for last respect. You feel the disappointment. When heroes go down, man or woman reveal. Do you show any kind of mercy on the battlefield? When heroes go down, when heroes go down, heroes go down. Consider me a widow, boys, and I will tell you why. It's not the man, but it's the marriage that was drowned. So I walk the walk and wait with watchful eye out to the sky, looking for a kind of vessel I have never found. Though I saw it splinter, I keep looking out to sea. Like a dog with little sense, I keep returning to the very area where I did see the thing go down. As if there's something at the sight I should be learning. That line is the horizon. Watch the wind and set the sail, but save ourselves when all omens point to fail. And if I tell the truth, then I would have to tell you this. Though I grieve and I believe I feel it truly, but I knew that ship was empty by the time it hit the rocks. 'Cause we could not hold on when fate became unruly. So consider me a widow, boys, and I have told you why. Does the weather say a better day is nearing? I'll set my house in order now and wait upon the will, 'cause it's clear that I need better skill in steering. That line is the horizon. We watch the wind and set the sail, but save ourselves when all omens point to fail. That line is the horizon. We watch the wind and set the sail, but save ourselves when all omens point to fail. reproach on your daughter's most beautiful face made me wonder just how she could know of that something that happened between you and me so much more than a long time ago. Her mother, I can see, lives within her still. She looked at me with her eyes, though I had only just met her right then. I feel that she peeled back my guilty disguise. Did I break the thread, or did you break the thread? At this point we could ask, who cares? As for the promises broken and frayed, well, it's 19 years late for repairs. The great pewter vase held the deep red rose. One piece of coral shone white by the brass candlestick near your red velvet coat. Is everything I can recall of one night. Ooh, 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 please tell me why I remember these things after all of this time. I don't know. I must have left all those feelings inside, 'cause that year I had no courage to show. Was I the name you could never pronounce? Did I even figure at all? All of this happened before she was born. Did I shadow her young pencil marks on the wall? Still I'm sure I was only but one of a number who darkened that door of your home and your hearth and your family and life, who'd been darkened so often before. The red leaf, it looks to the hard Graystone. To each other they know what they mean. Somewhere their future is still yet to come, in ways that are yet as of now unforeseen.
I sort of figured I'd end with an older song that you guys might know. I figured we'd do Tom's Diner. Sorry, Mike.
All right.
I am sitting in the morning at the diner on the corner. I am waiting at the counter for the man to pour the coffee, and he fills it only halfway, and before I even argue, he is looking out the window at somebody coming in. It is always nice to see you, says the man behind the counter to the woman who has come in. She is shaking her umbrella, and I look the other way as they are kissing their hellos, and I'm pretending not to see them, and instead I pour the milk I open up the paper, there's a story of an actor who had died while he was drinking. It was no one I had heard of. And I'm turning to the horoscope and looking for the funnies when I'm feeling someone watching me. And so I raise my head. There's a woman on the outside looking inside. Does she see me? No, she does not really see me, 'cause she sees her own reflection. And I'm trying not to notice that she's hitching up her skirt, and while she's straightening her stockings, her hair has gotten wet. Oh, this rain, it will continue through the morning as I'm listening to the bells of the cathedral. I am thinking of your voice and of the midnight picnic once upon a time before the rain began. And I finish up my coffee and it's time to catch the train. And so on and so forth, etc.